Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the next 20 years. Believe it or not, this is for Pluto in Aquarius. Again, as I've said to other people, this is not meant to be like a prediction for 20 years from now. This is meant to just represent the broad energy that you will be dealing with Pluto in Aquarius. So I didn't realize this was going to be so controversial, but people were really upset with the first set of these readings that I did because, like, how dare I predict out to 20 years? But again, that's not like the point. The point of these readings is to just predict the energy and kind of the energy that you'll be working with right now. So it doesn't matter if you're going to die tomorrow, as I've said to everyone else. It just is going to represent the energy that we're all dealing with. And apparently this card wants to come out, so we will take it. But it's definitely going to be affecting you because it's in your sign, Aquarius. So, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for 20 years. Some people don't get so lucky, right? Because it takes 20 years for Pluto to go through a sign. So some people never experience it in their own sign, obviously. But you start off with a swan spirit. It says time for a deep dive. And again, I do feel that is definitely a very good energy for you, this deep dive energy. If I were an Aquarius, and I basically am, my first house is Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius rising as well. Basically, most of my first house, I should say, is in Aquarius. I would be like diving super deep into your emotions with the King of Cups. I think that Pluto in Aquarius is kind of highlighting the heart, like what our heart tells us to do. But again, it's like the difference between what the collective tells us to do and the heart tells you to do. So there might be certain things that you want to do with your life in any area of your life, and there might be people or the government or there might be whatever that tells you, no, you can't do this for no reason, right? So your job is to go deep inside, to look at the things that nourish your soul, whatever those things are. And if your current environment does not kind of match up with whatever those things are that nourish you, then maybe it's time to change your environment or to go on the adventure or the journey to figure that out, to find the place. And you literally have this ocean card next that says distance journey on it. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of you were kind of maybe looking for your place in the world. This could be literal. You could be literally traveling, but it doesn't have to be so dramatic either. You have the Three of Cups here, and the Three of Cups could just say that you might be looking for a group of people to belong to. These people could be in your backyard. It could be online. It could be an internet group or something like that. But it's definitely something that stands out to me here. The other thing that stands out to me is that you go down to the Eight of Swords. So this kind of tells me that you need to look for these opportunities, basically, because the Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. You have the Ten of Wands. Again, I do feel like efficiency is going to be very important starting now. Again, these are not things you're waiting for 20 years for. We're working with this energy right now. These are like broad energies that you're working with. And what I feel intuitively is, especially this year, 2023, and as we go into 2024 as well, that things that are not efficient, we could see those things starting to break down. So like if you're doing certain things in work or business that just aren't efficient, if there's a better way of doing things, it's probably going to be pointed out to you. You're probably going to be triggered, or you're going to feel like it's too much work or whatever. So the trick here is to kind of like bend with the energy, not break, right? The trick here is to say like, okay, like what part of this is keeping me stuck, Eight of Swords? What part of my business or my job or my relationship is making me feel burdened? And what can I do to change it? Again, we have to work with the energy. You also have the Sun here. So a lot of happiness, a lot of good things. And again, I kind of like, it's kind of funny that you have the Sun here, which is like the best card in the tarot, but I also feel like it's not important. And those are not the right words, Aquarius, right? Of course it's important. But what I think that it's saying is, I think it's just delivering a very obvious message, which is the things that are obvious are going to be obvious. And what I mean by that is that the sun shines a light on things that are in our life that are meant to be, or meant to be, right? Or whatever you want to call it. And we need to kind of like move towards the sun. So I think things that are obviously going to work in your life, in all areas of your life, it's going to be obvious. And things that aren't. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Queen of Cups here. You have the King and Queen of Cups. So definitely if you're looking for love, I feel like you could be finding love. Like I said, I feel like these first few years of Pluto and Aquarius, it doesn't really have to do with Pluto and Aquarius necessarily, but what I would say is I feel like the next few years are really good for love in general. So if you want love, could be love. But again, both cards represent the heart. Normally, the Queen of Cups, she's holding something that looks more like a trophy. It doesn't even look like a cup. So it kind of represents the fact that she values her emotions on a very deep level. She really cares about how she feels. She really cares about how anything makes her feel. And the other thing with the King of Cups is I would say that, again, if something doesn't make you feel good, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave. It just says, how can you change it? How can you create more flow? How can you work with the energy, right? And if you can do that, you'll be successful. With the Ten of Wands, you have the King of Swords. It's like too much logical energy, I would say. I feel, again, more heart-based energy coming into your reading just in general. So maybe you've been living a very logical in a very logical place, right? Recently, over the past like several years. I wouldn't even say the past 20 years, but maybe. And but what I would say is I feel that you're kind of like coming out of this energy here. It's like more heart-based. With the Sun, you have the Nine of Cups. Yes, focusing on fulfillment. I think everybody needs to do this right now, is focusing on big dreams, things that bring fulfillment and happiness into your life. Next, you have this Ocean card. It says distance, journey on it. Some of you definitely could be going on a journey, but again, like I said, I feel these could be more mental journeys. These could be things that are in your head or that you're learning about or that you're experiencing. The other thing is that you have the Page of Cups, Three of Cups, King of Cups. The King of Cups has this boat right here above my finger, and it represents a time where we would get on boats and we wouldn't know where we were going. So it's kind of like a card of adventure, but I think that perfectly sums up Pluto and Aquarius. It's like none of us maybe know where we're going. And we're hoping that we run into land. We're hoping that we run into stability. We're hoping that we run into something new, refreshing, exciting, something that's going to be fulfilling. And so there's like a lot of hope going on right now, which I don't think is a bad thing. But again, some of us, I think, need to get on the boats. Like, I think we need to start exploring for new opportunities. And maybe it's a little choppy, maybe it's a little scary, but guess what? He doesn't care. He's perfectly fine. He's sitting in choppy waters, but he's perfectly fine where he is. He is in control of his emotions. And I think as long as you, again, follow your heart, you'll be going in the right direction, right? You have the Three of Cups. I immediately got something about kind of like looking for your tribe or, looking for your people, looking for people to belong to. So a lot of you could be like trying to find that. I also feel like you're being very careful with your time. And again, this is going to be the entire rest of the 20 years. Even if you only make it 5 more, I don't care. For however long into the next 20 years you make it, this to me is saying that I feel like you're being very careful with the people who you give time to, who you spend time with, all that other stuff. And I feel like that is a good thing for sure. For whatever reason, like I think that teamwork makes the dream work with Pluto and Aquarius, of course. Pluto and Aquarius is a collective. And I think that if you're not doing something that benefits the collective, you're crazy. But what I would say is at the same time, I think that we need to make sure that we're getting into equal relationships, that we, not just love. I'm talking about like in business and career, even friendships as well. If there's some sort of imbalance, it's probably not going to be right. But when you get into those relationships, all relationships, again, not just love, with people who are in balance with you, then I think you'll become unstoppable. You could literally, going this way, could be creating amazing things in the world. And these could be creative projects, could be businesses, whatever. I really feel it could be anything, and it could lead to a lot of success. You have the Page of Cups here. Again, I do feel like we're entering into a very dreamy time. He has this fish in this cup that he's holding if it wants to focus. And I always say, you need to grab onto that fish. That fish represents like a dream, a daydream, something that you're imagining creating in your life. But again, he really has to grab onto that fish. He has to make it happen, right? And I feel for a lot of you, this is kind of like saying there are some dreams that you maybe have desire or some experiences. These could just simply be experiences as well that you want to have. Maybe you want to travel to a foreign country, or maybe you want to, start a business, or maybe you want to just create a work of art or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is. I feel like this Page of Cups is saying, like, starting now, we're not talking about 20 years from now, we're talking about right now. Start working on those things because, clearly that's what the universe wants you to do here. With the Page of Cups, you have the Strength card. Yeah, I feel like you've been patient. I feel like you're ready as well. It's like the Strength card has a certain element of having worked on yourself for a certain period of time. She, normally on a Strength card, the lady has her hands in the lion's mouth, and the lion, its tail is between its legs. It is submitting to her. So it kind of represents the fact that she is getting her inner voice, her inner critic, her inner demons to submit to her, and she is the one that's taking control. So I feel like you are, to me, for whatever reason, intuitively, I'm just getting this as a symbol that you're ready. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm getting. With the Three of Cups, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. Basically, the universe saying I meant what I said. With the King of Cups, you have the Lovers. Definitely could be love coming in for you, of course. Again, my intention for these readings was not really necessarily to focus on love. Again, it was more, these are meant to be broad aspects that you're going to be dealing with when Pluto moves into Aquarius in March, right? And for the next 20 years, basically. But what I would say here is, so it could be love, but I feel like there's just new options for you. You know, the whole point of Lovers is that traditionally it was a card of the crossroads, like having a choice to make, having a decision to make in your life. And Pluto in Aquarius is very simple. I would just be picking the new path, plain and simple, right? You have these three cards. This card wanted to pop off, which was pretty weird. It says, spend less time worrying about your appearance. You are enough. Definitely, Pluto is like death transformation. So having it in your first house, if you happen to be a first house Aquarius, but even if it's not, I mean, you could be going through some sort of transformation where you want to transform your appearance or how you appear to the world or something like that. You have this settling card. It says your soul is telling you you're on the wrong path. Allow yourself time and space to evolve. This is literally what we've been talking about, and find your true path. You have this card that says you're on a journey of discovering your life purpose. Are you kidding? I mean, basically, that is everything that we talked about in the first part of the reading. You have the Three of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Swords. I feel like the Eight of Swords is a little bit of self-imposed restriction. I kind of get second chance vibes here, Aquarius. Not as in, like, you're going back to the past, but, it's almost as if maybe over the past few years, like let's say the last 4 or 5 years, maybe you tried to expand yourself or tried to start a business or anything hard. Like if you tried to do something hard, like move to another country or start a business or get going in your career or whatever. And if you bumped up against obstacles, it's like intuitively I'm getting that you're getting a second chance. Maybe not doing exactly what you wanted to do, but I feel like pretty darn close or something very similar. And I feel like this is saying set yourself free. Again, we have the Four of Cups here as well. Four of Cups to me is a card of kind of manifesting what you need. I always say it's like he's trying to manifest a cake. Let's pretend that's what he's manifesting. He's manifesting the flour, the sugar, the eggs, but he is upset because he didn't manifest a cake. So it's like he manifested everything he needs. He just needs to mix it together. And I kind of feel that is how, if I were you, and I basically am, that is how I would be working with the energy right now. I would be realizing that maybe you're just getting the small steps, the small little dots that are going to connect to a much bigger picture in the future. And that's kind of like how I see this. You have the Three of Pentacles. I kind of feel this is something that's missing, which is teamwork. So anything you can do to work with other people, to get other people to help you or guide you or, whatever, that's exactly what I would be doing with this energy. I would be working with other people or, in some way. And again, you can do whatever you want. I always say, don't, people always love to tell me how they hate working with other people. Fine. I mean, stay stuck. I don't care, right? But for those of you that want to be set free, Eight of Swords, then I would work with other people. The other thing that I would be focusing on here is quality. Three of Pentacles is a quality. It says quality, not quantity, basically. So anything you're working on, I would be focusing on quality, right? In creating high quality things. I would also be focusing on quality experiences as well, because I think that'll help you. Let's see. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Six of Cups, literally obstacles being removed from your life. I always say that Six of Cups to me is a gift from the universe, and the gift we usually receive is obstacles being removed. With the Four of Cups, you have the Knight of Cups. Could be a Knight in Shining Armor. Could be a Leo, by the way, coming in for you. You have Leo 4 times here in this reading already. It could be any sign. This is general reading, but, could definitely be love. The other thing I would say is that the Knight of Cups perfectly describes, I think, the time that we're going into, because the Knight of Cups is standing in the desert, and he has water flowing in front of him. He's standing somewhere where it kind of looks like there is no opportunity, the desert, right? But if he looks closer, there's water flowing in front of him. He can just easily plant his seeds in front of him, and they will grow. So as I've been saying for years now, I think we are entering into a time where it might not look like we have the things we need to be successful, but we actually do. Maybe we just have to do it in a different way. And I don't really have any good examples, but it's like if you're wanting to start a business and you're thinking I need money, it's like, well, do you really need money, or could you get started without money? Or is there a way you could get started without money, right? And again, the people who look for the ways to do it are going to be very successful. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Four of Swords, card of recovery. I do feel like you're kind of recovering from a stuck period of time, so it does look like you are setting yourself free. Next, you have the Hourglass. It says time is of the essence, and I do feel like I don't think we're running out of time. I wouldn't say that, but I wouldn't be waiting too long. And I also would encourage you to realize that you probably don't need to relive a lesson again, which we see here with the Hermit. You have the Five of Wands and the High Priestess as well. But the Hermit, he is standing at the top of the mountain, and there's a way to read the Hermit that his feet are frozen at the top of this mountain, but he could easily put that lantern down by his feet, and he would set himself free. So I feel for a lot of you, this is encouraging you to get moving forward. I also feel like it's saying, like, don't go back to reliving any lessons that you've already learned, So I would, if you enter this, I know that's a very broad statement, but what I would say is, like, if you start dating a person, for example, and if you start to see the signs that they're exactly like a past person, maybe it's a sign that you don't need to relive the lesson. It's saying, like, leave now and forever hold your peace, right? Same thing in, like, business or anything else. I feel like you need to pay attention to the things that you've learned with this Hermit energy. You have the Five of Wands here. Five of Wands is conflict and competition, but again, I would be focusing on co-creation during Pluto and Aquarius. As I've said to everyone, that doesn't mean that there won't be competition, and there are people who enjoy competition. It's like it's not going to go anywhere for people who enjoy taking part in competitions, but the energy is just a little bit more towards the co-creation side of things. So, in business or work, I would be looking at how you can work together with people. Same thing with relationships as well. It's like I think relationships nowadays are very competitive, or there's like an element of competition, but I feel like this is saying make sure that you're entering into situations that are co-creative. I also feel, I always call this card Indiana Jones because to me it's a card of going on like some sort of crazy adventure to get some sort of reward in your life. It could be any type of reward, by the way. And I feel like there are rewards coming in for you, obviously, through going on a journey. You have like 19 journey cards here. So I'd be doing something. You have the High Priestess as well. I would definitely be trusting your intuition at this time. And, again, this is another card of expansion. She has no roof over her head on the High Priestess, and it represents kind of unlimited potential. She can accomplish whatever she sets her mind to, but she needs to take action. She needs to kind of get moving. It's kind of funny as well because it's kind of a card of sacrifice. She has these pomegranates behind her on this tapestry, and pomegranates are the fruit of the underworld. And so I feel for a lot of you, it's popping into my head. I rarely, if ever, use that meaning of the High Priestess that, it's a fruit of the underworld, and it can kind of represent needing to make a sacrifice to get something on the other side. Here you go. With the Hermit, you have the Three of Wands. Expand, don't contract, right? Whenever you think maybe there are moments that make you feel small, I would reverse the thought and say, how can I make me feel expansive and big and powerful, right? And maybe you have to do this in your mind at first, but I think if you do that enough times, then you're going to become whatever you're thinking about. With the Five of Wands, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, basically the universe saying I meant what I said. I would focus on co-creation here. With the High Priestess, you have the Seven of Wands. It's like if you can dream it, you can have it with the High Priestess. Unlimited potential. And also, Seven of Wands is my card that says when you know that you can do something or that you can be something or have something in your life, when you believe it deep down into your DNA, right, then you will accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. So I think that working on your beliefs would be a good idea here. We're going to do 5 main themes now as well. You have this Revenge card, especially at the beginning of Pluto and Aquarius. I would avoid I just avoid karmic thinking, like thinking, oh, this person needs to get karma, or I would avoid gossip and like all that other stuff as well. No revenge at this time. You have this Fulfillment card, and look, this is Saturn and Sagittarius, so literally, I'm telling you right now, if you are thinking of going on any journeys, these could be mental journeys, they could be literal traveling journeys, I feel there's going to be a lot of fulfillment and probably financial success in those areas of your life, like whatever you're doing. You have this Idealism card. This is the Sun in Aquarius. This is your energy here, Aquarius. So I do feel like it's going to be a good time. Again, I wouldn't be expecting things to be perfect, especially the environment. Again, I think that one of the main energies that we'll be dealing with over the next 20 years, starting now, is that things are not going to be perfect. It's like the environment that we're in probably isn't going to be perfect. But if we get started, then the universe will move out of the way. I truly believe that. You have this Manipulation card. This is not a bad card. It's more like the Magician. It's about manipulating energy or working with the energy to manifest the things that you want in your life. So it'd be a great time for you, I think, to work on your powers of manifestation or coming up with ways to, manifest more things in your life. And finally, you have this ostentation card. I think this is a lesson you learned over the past 20 years, even if you're not 20 years old. This is the difference between truth and something that's a lie right here at the bottom. So I feel for a lot of you that you've learned like the difference between what is true and what is false, but it's like a little bit deeper than that, because some of this I feel has to do with your truth. It's like maybe you've gotten into situations that do not align with your truth, and now you're moving more towards alignment, right? So I feel a lot of you could be getting out of, it's not like you're getting out of situations. I don't think that's the right word to use, but it is almost like you are removing yourself from things that are not your truth. I feel like you could be creating a new truth for yourself as well, a much better truth, right? And that's exactly what I'd be working on. So love it. This looks amazing. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff. You could be discovering your life purpose if you don't already know it. And again, it's not going to take 20 years. This is something you're working on right now. We're talking about Pluto and Aquarius energy. So looks good. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And definitely enjoy your next 20 years.